When Ana Belmonte arrives seeking freedom, she tames the wildest stallion and stirs something even wilder in Lauren Hartwell's guarded heart. But her father's return threatens everything. Will love hold, or will fear win? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from today. Ana Belmonte gripped her small suitcase tightly as the bus pulled away, leaving her at the entrance of Stonewell Ranch. The morning sun beat down on her shoulders as she stared at the wooden sign swinging gently in the breeze. This was it, her new beginning. At 25, Ana had never been on her own before. Her father had controlled every aspect of her life, her friends, her education, even the clothes she wore. The only place she'd ever felt free was in the barn, behind their house, where she'd spend hours with the animals her father kept but rarely paid attention to. "You can do this," she whispered to herself, adjusting the strap of her worn backpack. "Just get through today." The gravel crunched beneath her boots as she made her way up the long driveway. Stonewell Ranch was bigger than she'd imagined. Sprawling, pastures dotted with grazing horses, a massive red barn, and a two-story farmhouse with a wide porch. It was nothing like the sterile mansion she'd grown up in. A tall man with gray hair and weathered skin approached her, wiping his hands on a rag. "You must be Ana. I'm Frank, the ranch foreman. Mr. Hartwell mentioned you'd be arriving today." "Yes, sir," Ana replied, extending her hand. "Thank you for the opportunity." Frank's handshake was firm. "Don't thank me yet. The work here is hard, and Mr. Hartwell expects the best from everyone." He gestured toward a small cabin behind the main house. "That'll be yours. It's not fancy, but it's clean. Get settled and meet me at the stable in 30 minutes. Ana nodded, relief washing over her. Her own place. No one watching her every move. No one telling her she wasn't good enough. The cabin was simple. Just one room with a bed, a small kitchen, area and a bathroom. But to Ana it was perfect. She quickly unpacked her few belongings and changed into work jeans and a flannel shirt. When she arrived at the stable, Frank was waiting with a clipboard. "Have you worked with horses before?" "Not professionally," Ana admitted. "But I've been around them my whole life. I can ride, groom, muck stalls, whatever you need." Frank raised an eyebrow. "We'll see. For now you'll be mucking stalls and helping with feeding. If you prove yourself, we'll move you up." Ana nodded. She didn't mind starting at the bottom. She'd work harder than anyone else if that's what it took. As Frank showed her around, introducing her to the other ranch hands, Ana couldn't help but notice their curious glances. She was used to being the outsider. "And this," Frank said, stopping in front of the last stall, "is Orion, Mr. Hartwell's prize stallion. No one handles him except Mr. Hartwell himself. You don't go near this stall without permission, understand?" Hannah peered through the bars at the magnificent black horse inside. Orion stomped his foot and tossed his head, his dark eyes watching her intently. "He's beautiful," she whispered. "He's dangerous," Frank corrected. "Broke Jim's arm last month when he tried to clean the stall. Just stay away from him." Ana nodded, but she couldn't take her eyes off the horse. There was something in his gaze, not anger but loneliness. She knew that look all too well. For the next week, Ana worked from sunrise to sunset. Her hands blistered and her muscles ached, but she never complained. The other ranch hands gradually accepted her presence, though few made an effort to befriend her. Ana didn't mind. She was comfortable in the quiet, talking softly to the horses as she worked. Each night, she fell into bed exhausted but happy. For the first time in her life, she was making her own choices, answering to no one but herself. She had yet to meet the ranch owner, Lauren Hartwell. Frank mentioned he was away on business, but the other workers spoke of him in hushed tones. A hard man, they said, who kept to himself and expected perfection. On her 8th day at the ranch, Ana was up before dawn. Unable to sleep, she decided to walk the fence line of the east pasture, checking for any breaks that needed repair. The morning air was crisp, and the first hints of sunrise painted the sky in shades of pink and gold. As she rounded the corner of the barn, she heard frantic shouting. Several ranch hands were running toward the stable, panic clear in their voices. "He's loose. Orion's loose." Ana's heart raced as she saw the magnificent black stallion burst from the stable doors, his powerful body moving like liquid darkness in the early morning light. The ranch hands tried to corner him, but Orion charged past them, wild and untamed. Without thinking, Anna stepped forward, away from the safety of the fence. Orion galloped across the pasture, kicking up dirt and grass, his mane flying behind him like a banner. Then suddenly he spotted her. The great horse slowed, nostrils flaring, ears perked forward. Anna stood perfectly still, her breath caught in her throat. Everyone around her froze, waiting for the stallion to charge again, but Orion didn't charge. Instead, he walked toward her, each step measured and deliberate. The ranch hands watched in disbelief as the horse that no one could touch approached Anna without hesitation. When he reached her, Orion lowered his head and nudged her hand gently with his nose. Anna smiled, her fingers trembling slightly as she stroked his velvet muzzle. "Hello there," she whispered. "You just wanted to run a little, didn't you? That's all right, I understand." A hush fell over the ranch as everyone stared at the scene before them. The wild, untamable stallion standing calmly beside the new stable hand, as gentle as a lamb. And then Anna felt it, the weight of someone's gaze, heavier than all the others. She looked up to see a man standing by the gate, tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair and intense eyes that seemed to see right through her. Loren Hartwell. He didn't move, didn't call out. He simply watched, his expression a mixture of disbelief and something else Anna couldn't quite name. Finally he spoke, his deep voice carrying across the distance between them. "Even he knows you're special." Anna felt her cheeks flush. She didn't know what to say, so she said nothing, focusing instead on the horse beside her. With gentle pressure on his neck, she guided Orion back toward the stable. To everyone's amazement, he followed her willingly. When she returned from securing the stallion in his stall, Loren was waiting, arms crossed over his chest. Up close, Anna could see the fine lines around his eyes, the slight grey at his temples despite his youth. At 31, Loren Hartwell carried himself like a man who had seen too much of the world and trusted none of it. "How did you do that?" he asked without preamble. Anna shrugged. "I didn't do anything special, he just responded." Orion doesn't respond to anyone, not even me, most days. Loren studied her face. "Frank says you've been here a week. No experience but good with the horses. I grew up around animals," Anna explained, trying not to fidget under his intense gaze. "They make more sense to me than people sometimes." Something flickered in Loren's eyes. Recognition, perhaps. "What's your name?" "Anna. Anna Belmonte." "Well, Anna Belmonte," he said. "It seems you've made quite an impression on my most valuable horse. Starting tomorrow, you'll be working with Orion." Frank, who had been standing nearby, stepped forward. "Mr. Hartwell, are you sure that's wise? She's only been here a week, and Orion is—" "I know what Orion is," Loren cut him off. "And I know what I saw." He turned back to Anna. "Report to the stable at 6 tomorrow morning. We'll see if today was a fluke, or if you really have a way with him." With that, he walked away, leaving Anna standing in the middle of the yard with every pair of eyes on the ranch fixed firmly on her. That night Anna couldn't sleep. She paced the small cabin, wondering what tomorrow would bring. Working with Orion was an opportunity she hadn't expected, but the weight of Loren Hartwell's expectations made her stomach knot with anxiety. What if Orion's behavior today had been a one-time thing? What if she failed? At 5:30 the next morning, Anna was already at the stable, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, wearing her cleanest work clothes. She was nervous, but determined not to show it. Loren arrived precisely at 6, dressed in riding boots and a dark jacket, despite the early hour. He nodded to her but said little as he led her to Orion's stall. The stallion nickered softly when he saw Anna, moving toward the stall door. "He remembers you," Loren said, surprise evident in his voice. "That's unusual." Anna smiled. "May I?" she asked, gesturing to the stall door. Loren hesitated, then nodded, stepping back to give her space. Anna unlatched the door and slipped inside. Orion remained calm, his dark eyes watching her intently. She spoke to him in a low, soothing voice, as she ran her hands along his neck and shoulders. "You're not what they say you are you?" she murmured. "You're not mean, you're just scared." From outside the stall, Lauren watched with a mixture of amazement and suspicion. "What are you saying to him?" Anna glanced up. "I'm telling him he doesn't have to be afraid, that I understand what it's like to be misunderstood." Something in Lauren's expression shifted. For a brief moment, the hard lines of his face softened, and Anna caught a glimpse of the man beneath the stern exterior, younger, perhaps even vulnerable. But the moment passed quickly. "Let's see if he'll let you saddle him," Lauren said, his professional demeanor returning. To everyone's surprise, including Anna's, Orion accepted the saddle without protest. When Anna led him from the stable into the morning sunlight, several ranch hands stopped to stare. "Are you going to ride him?" Lauren asked, watching as Anna checked the cinch one last time. She hesitated. "Would that be all right?" Lauren nodded. "If he'll let you." With practiced ease, Anna mounted the stallion. Orion shifted beneath her but remained calm. She could feel the power in his muscles, the energy barely contained. "Easy now," she whispered, patting his neck. "We're just going to take it slow." She guided Orion around the corral, starting with a walk, then a trot. The stallion responded to her lightest touch, as if they'd been riding together for years. From the fence, Lauren watched, his expression unreadable. But when Anna completed a full circuit of the corral and brought Orion to a perfect stop before him, she caught the faintest hint of a smile on his lips. "Impressive, Miss Belmonte," he said. "It seems you do have a way with him after all." Over the next few weeks, Anna spent every morning working with Orion. Under her gentle guidance, the stallion's reputation for being wild and dangerous began to fade. Even the other ranch hands started to approach him, though always with Anna nearby. Lauren often observed these sessions, saying little but watching closely. Sometimes Anna would catch him looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite define, curiosity perhaps, or wonder. One morning, as Anna was brushing Orion after their ride, Lauren approached with an extra pair of leather gloves. "The weather report says we'll have frost tomorrow," he said, handing them to her. "These should help." Anna took the gloves, surprised by the gesture. "Thank you. That's very thoughtful." Lauren shrugged, looking almost embarrassed. "Can't have my best horse handler getting frostbite." It was the first of many small, careful gestures. A new flashlight appeared on her doorstep when her old one died. A thermos of hot coffee waited for her at the stable on particularly cold mornings. Lauren never mentioned these things, and Anna never asked, but a silent understanding grew between them. The other ranch hands noticed the special attention, and the whispers began. Hannah tried to ignore them, focusing instead on her work, but it was hard not to wonder what Lauren Hartwell saw when he looked at her with those intense, searching eyes. One evening, as autumn painted the ranch in shades of gold and red, Anna was returning from a late ride with Orion when she spotted Lauren sitting alone on the porch of the main house. Without thinking, she changed direction and walked toward him. "Good evening, Mr. Hartwell," she said, stopping at the bottom of the porch steps. He looked up, surprise flickering across his features. "Miss Belmonte, how was your ride?" "Wonderful. Orion's getting stronger every day." Lauren nodded, then gestured to the empty chair beside him. "Would you like to sit for a moment?" Anna hesitated, then climbed the steps and took the offered seat. For a while they sat in comfortable silence, watching as the last light of day faded from the sky. "You've done remarkable work with him," Lauren said finally. "I've had trainers from all over the country try to work with Orion. None of them could get near him." Anna smiled. "He just needed someone to listen to him." "Is that all?" Lauren asked, turning to look at her directly. Anna met his gaze. "Sometimes that's everything." Something shifted in the air between them, a recognition, a connection that went beyond words. For the first time, Anna saw Lauren Hartwell not as her employer or as the stern, untouchable ranch owner, but as a man who carried his own burdens, his own wounds. The moment was broken by the sound of Frank calling from the barn. Lauren straightened, the wall coming back up between them. "You should get some rest," he said, rising from his chair. "Tomorrow's going to be a busy day." Anna nodded and stood as well. "Good night, Mr. Hartwell." As she walked back to her cabin, Anna couldn't help but wonder about the man behind the mask. What had made Lauren Hartwell so guarded, so unwilling to trust? And why did she feel so drawn to the rare moments when that guard slipped? Little did she know that as she pondered these questions, Loren stood on the porch watching her go, asking himself questions of his own, about the young woman who had somehow tamed his wildest horse, about the feelings stirring within him that he'd thought long dead, and about whether he dared to let those feelings grow. Autumn settled over Stonewell Ranch, painting the surrounding hills in rich shades of red and gold. Anna had been at the ranch for 2 months now, and what had once felt strange and new had become familiar. The rhythm of farm life, the faces of the other workers, the quiet of her small cabin at night. And then there was Orion. The bond between Anna and the stallion grew stronger each day. What had begun as a tentative trust had blossomed into something remarkable. Orion followed Anna like a shadow, responding to her slightest command. The ranch hands watched in amazement as she rode him across open fields, the horse moving beneath, her with power and grace. "Never seen anything like it," Frank told Loren one morning as they observed Anna and Orion from the fence line. "That horse hated everyone before she came along." Loren nodded, his eyes fixed on Anna. "She has a gift." "It's more than that," Frank said, glancing sideways at his boss. "She understands him somehow." Loren said nothing, but Frank's words echoed in his mind long after the conversation ended. Understanding. Wasn't that what everyone secretly wanted? To be seen for who they truly were, not who others expected them to be. Later that afternoon, Loren found Anna in the stable, brushing Orion after their morning ride. She looked up when he entered, a smile brightening her face. "Mr. Hartwell," she greeted him. "Orion was wonderful today. We went all the way to the creek and back without any trouble." "Good," Loren said, then hesitated. "Anna, I was wondering if you'd join me for dinner tonight, at the house." Surprise flickered across her features. "Dinner? Nothing formal," he added quickly. I'd like to discuss Orion's training program with you for the winter months." It wasn't the whole truth, and from the slight tilt of her head, Loren suspected Anna knew it. But she nodded. "I'd like that. What time should I come?" 7 o'clock. "And Anna—" He paused at the stable door. "You don't need to dress up, it's just dinner." As he walked back to the main house, Loren silently chastised himself. He hadn't meant to invite her to dinner. He'd planned to simply check on Orion's progress and leave. But something about the way the afternoon light caught in her dark hair, the gentleness in her hands as she brushed the stallion, it had prompted words he hadn't intended to speak. He wasn't ready for this. For her. Not after everything that had happened with his family, with Sarah. At precisely 7 o'clock, Anna knocked on the door of the main house. She'd changed into clean jeans and a simple blouse, not dressy, but nicer than her work clothes. Her hair, usually tied back in a practical ponytail, fell loose around her shoulders. Loren opened the door, momentarily taken aback by the change in her appearance. "You look nice," he said awkwardly. Anna smiled. "Thank you. So do you." Loren led her into the house. Unlike the grandeur Anna had expected, the interior was surprisingly modest. Comfortable furniture, simple decorations, large windows that looked out over the ranch. It felt lived in, real. "I hope you like steak," Loren said as they entered the dining room. The table was set for 2, with candles casting a warm glow over the simple but elegant meal. "It looks wonderful," Anna said, taking the seat he offered her. For the first few minutes they ate in silence. Anna could sense Loren's nervousness, so different from his usual confident demeanor. It made him seem more human, more approachable. "So," she said finally, "you wanted to discuss Orion's winter training?" Loren looked up, a hint of a smile touching his lips. "That was an excuse, I'm sorry." "Then why did you invite me to dinner?" He set down his fork, considering his words carefully. "Because I wanted to know more about you, about the woman who somehow tamed a horse that no one else could touch." Anna felt her cheeks warm under his gaze. "There's not much to tell. I grew up in Chicago. My father owns an investment firm. I was supposed to follow in his footsteps. College, business school, then join the company. But you didn't want that," Loren guessed. Anna shook her head. "I've never been interested in business. Numbers and profits, they never meant anything. To me, I wanted—" She hesitated. What? Lauren prompted gently. Freedom, she said simply. The chance to make my own choices. My father, he controlled everything. Who I saw, what I wore, where I went. When I told him I wanted to work with animals instead of going to business school, he was furious. Understanding flashed in Lauren's eyes. So you left? Yes. I packed a bag and walked out in the middle of the night. 3 days later, I saw your job listing online. It seemed perfect, far away from Chicago, working with horses. A fresh start. Lauren leaned back in his chair, studying her with those intense eyes that seemed to see more than she wanted to reveal. You're brave, Anna. Walking away from everything you knew. That takes courage. Anna shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. It was self-preservation, not courage. If I'd stayed, I would have disappeared into the person my father wanted me to be. I understand that better than you might think, Lauren said quietly. Anna looked up, surprised by his admission. You do, Lauren nodded, then stood, collecting their empty plates. Would you like coffee, or we could sit on the porch? The night is still warm. The porch sounds nice, Anna said, recognizing his need to change the subject. Outside, the night was clear, stars scattered across the dark sky like diamonds. They sat in the same chairs they'd occupied weeks before, when Anna had first joined Lauren on the porch. It's beautiful here, Anna said, gazing out at the moonlit pastures. So peaceful. That's why I bought this place, Lauren replied. After everything with my brother, I needed somewhere quiet, somewhere I could start over. Anna turned to him, curious but hesitant to pry. Your brother? Lauren was silent for a long moment, and Anna thought he might not answer. But then he spoke, his voice low and measured. My brother James and I used to be close. We grew up on a ranch not unlike this one, though smaller. Our parents died when I was 21, and James was 19. They left us the ranch and a small inheritance. We ran it together for years. He paused, his gaze fixed on the distant mountains. About 5 years ago, I met a woman, Sarah. She was beautiful, charming. I fell hard. We got engaged after 6 months. Anna felt a twinge in her chest at the mention of another woman, but she kept her expression neutral. What happened? James happened, Lauren said, a bitter edge to his voice. I was away on business, trying to secure a loan to expand the ranch. When I came back, I found Sarah in bed with my brother. Anna's hand flew to her mouth. Oh, Lauren, I'm so sorry. He shrugged, but Anna could see the old pain in his eyes. The worst part wasn't the betrayal, it was what came after. Sarah claimed she'd always loved James, that their relationship had been going on for months behind my back. And James, my own brother, just stood there and let her say it all, never once apologizing. What did you do? I sold my half of the ranch to James, packed up and left. Came here and started over. Bought this place, built it up. I haven't spoken to either of them since. Annie understood now, the wariness in his eyes, the distance he kept from others. That's why you find it hard to trust people. Lauren looked at her directly for the first time since beginning his story. Yes, but then you came along and Orion, the horse no one could get near, trusted you instantly. It made me wonder what I was missing. The air between them seemed to thicken with unspoken feelings. Anna was acutely aware of how close they were sitting, of the way the moonlight cast shadows across Lauren's strong features. I should go, she said suddenly, standing up. It's getting late, and I have an early start tomorrow. Lauren rose as well. Of course, thank you for joining me tonight, Anna. At the bottom of the porch steps, Anna turned back. Lauren? Yes? Thank you for telling me about your brother. I know it wasn't easy. He nodded, a sad smile touching his lips. Good night, Anna. Good night. As Anna walked back to her cabin, her mind whirled with conflicting emotions. Sympathy for Lauren's past pain, anger at the brother and fiancé who had betrayed him, and something else, a warm, fluttering feeling in her chest whenever she thought of the way he'd looked at her across the dinner table. But she couldn't afford to dwell on such thoughts. Lauren Hartwell was her employer, nothing more. And she had come to Stonewell Ranch to escape one controlling man. She couldn't allow herself to fall under the influence of another, no matter how kind his eyes or gentle his words. The following weeks brought a shift in Anna and Lauren's relationship. They were more comfortable with each other, more open. Their conversations extended beyond work, touching on books they'd read, places they'd visited, dreams they harbored. Loren began joining Anna on her morning rides, mounted on his own horse, a chestnut mare named Ember. They would explore the far reaches of the ranch property, sometimes talking, sometimes riding in companionable silence. During one such ride, they stopped at a high ridge overlooking a valley painted in autumn colors. Anna dismounted, letting Orion graze nearby while she sat on a fallen log. Loren joined her, stretching his long legs out before him. "I've been meaning to ask you something," he said. "What's that? How did you know what Orion needed? From the very first day, you seemed to understand him in a way no one else could." Anna considered the question seriously. "I think it's because I recognized something in him that I see in myself. Witches." Fear disguised as anger, wildness born from feeling trapped. She glanced at Orion, who was contentedly pulling at the grass. People called him dangerous because he lashed out when they tried to control him, but he wasn't mean, he was scared. All he needed was someone to approach him with patience instead of force. Loren was watching her intently. "You're remarkable, Anna Belmonte." She laughed, embarrassed by his praise. "I'm just a girl who likes horses." "No," Loren said firmly. "You're much more than that." Before Anna could respond, the distant sound of an approaching vehicle caught their attention. A cloud of dust rose from the road leading to the ranch. "We should head back," Loren said, rising to his feet. "I'm not expecting visitors today." They rode back quickly, reaching the main house just as a sleek black car pulled up in front of the porch. Anna hung back as Loren dismounted and handed Ember's reins to a nearby ranch hand. The car door opened and a woman stepped out, tall, elegantly dressed with perfectly styled blonde hair. She removed her sunglasses, revealing a face that was beautiful in a cold, calculating way. "Loren, darling," she called, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Surprise." Anna saw Loren stiffen, his entire body going rigid. "Sarah," he said, his voice flat. "What are you doing here?" Sarah, the ex-fiancée who had betrayed him with his brother. Anna felt a surge of protectiveness toward Loren, coupled with an irrational dislike of this woman she'd never met. Sarah sauntered forward, ignoring Loren's question. My, you've done well for yourself, haven't you? This place is much bigger than that sad little ranch you and James had." Loren's jaw tightened. "I'll ask again. What are you doing here?" Sarah's smile faltered slightly. "Can't an old friend pay a visit? It's been 5 years, Loren. Surely you're not still angry about what happened." "We were never friends," Loren said coldly. "And you didn't answer my question." Sarah sighed dramatically. "Fine. I'm here because James is in trouble. He's about to lose the ranch. That's not my problem." "It could be," Sarah countered. "He needs a loan, Loren. Just enough to get through the winter. Come spring, he'll pay you back with interest." Loren laughed, a harsh sound without humor. "You can't be serious. You and James betrayed me, destroyed our relationship, and now you want me to give him money?" Sarah's pretty face hardened. "It wasn't like that, and you know it. What James and I have is real. We're married now, for God's sake." "Congratulations," Loren said dryly. "Now leave." "Loren, please," Sarah said, her voice softening to a pleading tone that sounded rehearsed to Anna's ears. "For old time's sake, for the brother you once loved." "The brother I loved died the day he betrayed me." Loren turned away. "You can find your way back to the road." As he walked toward the stable, Sarah's expression darkened with anger. "You always were a stubborn fool, Loren Hartwell. James was right. You'll never change." Loren didn't look back, his shoulders straight, his stride purposeful. Anna hesitated, unsure whether to follow him or remain with Orion. Sarah noticed her then, her sharp eyes taking in Anna's work clothes and the horse beside her. "And who might you be?" "Loren's latest conquest." Anna flushed with anger. "I work here with the horses." "Of course you do," Sarah said with a smirk. Loren always did have a thing for the help. Before Anna could respond, Loren's voice cut through the tension. "Anna, would you please take Orion back to the stable? And Sarah," he turned to his ex-fiancée, his expression cold, "I won't tell you again. Leave. Now." Sarah held his gaze for a long moment, then shrugged elegantly. Fine, have it your way, but this isn't over, Lauren. James won't give up so easily. She slid back into her car, the engine roaring to life. As she drove away, a cloud of dust billowed behind her, like the aftermath of a storm. Anna led Orion toward the stable, her mind racing with questions. The Sarah she'd just met was nothing like the charming woman Lauren had described falling in love with. This Sarah was calculating, manipulative, a woman used to getting her way. In the stable, she found Lauren leaning against Ember's stall, his face drawn with tension. "Are you all right?" she asked softly. He glanced up as if surprised to find her there. "I'm fine. I'm sorry you had to witness that." "Don't apologize. It wasn't your fault." Lauren ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration Anna had come to recognize. "I never thought I'd see her again, or hear James's name. Do you think they're really in trouble? With the ranch?" "Probably," Lauren admitted. "James was never good with money, always spending more than we had, taking risks that didn't pay off." He shook his head. "But it's not my concern anymore. They made their choice 5 years ago." Anna nodded, understanding his bitterness. "What will you do if they come back?" "The same thing I did today. Send them away." Lauren straightened, visibly, pulling himself together. "Enough about Sarah and James. How about we focus on something more pleasant?" "Like what?" A small smile tugged at his lips. "There's a harvest festival in town this weekend. Would you like to go with me?" The invitation caught Anna off guard. "Like a date?" "If you want it to be," Lauren said, a hint of vulnerability in his eyes. Anna knew she should say no. Getting involved with her employer was complicated enough without adding his past baggage to the mix. But looking at him now, his guard down, his eyes hopeful, she couldn't bring herself to refuse. "I'd like that," she said softly. The smile that spread across Lauren's face made her heart skip. "Saturday then, I'll pick you up at 6. As Anna walked back to her cabin that evening, her steps felt lighter despite the troubling encounter with Sarah. For the first time since arriving at Stonewell Ranch, she allowed herself to imagine a future beyond just working with the horses. Future that included Lauren Hartwell and the warmth that filled her chest whenever he was near. But as darkness fell over the ranch, Anna couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah's visit was just the beginning. The woman's parting words echoed in her. "Mind, this isn't over." And somehow Anna knew she was right. Saturday evening arrived with perfect autumn weather, crisp air, clear skies, and trees blazing with color along the road into town. Anna stood in front of the small mirror in her cabin, nervously smoothing her hair. She'd splurged on a new outfit for the Harvest Festival, a simple blue dress and a light jacket, using some of the money she'd saved from her paychecks. She wasn't sure why she felt so nervous. It was just a festival, just a date, but deep down Anna knew this evening mattered more than she wanted to admit. A knock at the door made her jump. Taking a deep breath, she opened it to find Lauren standing on her porch, looking handsome in dark jeans and a button-down shirt. "You look beautiful," he said simply, his eyes warming as they took her in. Anna smiled, feeling her nervousness fade. "Thank you. You look nice too." The drive into town was filled with easy conversation. Anna had rarely left the ranch since arriving, and she found herself excited by the prospect of seeing the local community. Cedar Creek was a small town, the kind where everyone knew each other by name. Tonight, the main street was transformed for the Harvest Festival. Strings of lights hung between lampposts, booths lined both sides of the street, and a band played country music from a wooden stage at the center of it all. "It's not much compared to Chicago," Loren said as he parked his truck. "But the people here know how to celebrate." "It's perfect," Anna replied honestly. After years of formal charity galas and sterile corporate events, the warmth and simplicity of the small-town festival felt like a breath of fresh air. They strolled through the festival, stopping to sample homemade pies, admire local crafts, and chat with townspeople. Anna noticed how many people greeted Loren with genuine warmth. Clearly, despite his reputation for being distant, he was respected. In the community, Mr. Hartwell, a young boy of about 10, ran up to them, his face alight with excitement. "Did you bring Orion?" You said maybe you would this year. Lauren smiled, ruffling the boy's hair. Not this time, Tommy. He's still not ready for crowds, but maybe next year. Tommy looked disappointed but nodded bravely. Promise? I promise we'll try. Lauren glanced at Anna. Actually, Tommy, this is Miss Belmonte. She's been working with Orion, and he's making great progress thanks to her. Tommy's eyes widened as he looked at Anna with newfound respect. You can ride Orion, the black stallion that no one can touch, Anna laughed. He's not as scary as everyone thinks, he just needs someone to understand him. Wow, Tommy breathed. That's so cool. Can I come see him sometime? That's up to Mr. Hartwell, Anna said, looking to Lauren. Lauren nodded. Tell your dad to bring you by the ranch next weekend. If Orion's in a good mood, maybe Miss Belmonte will show you how she works with him. Tommy beamed, thanking them profusely, before running off to tell his friends. You're good with kids, Anna observed as they continued walking. I like Tommy. His father works at the feed store. Good family. Lauren pointed to a booth selling hot cider. Would you like some? As they sipped their cider, the band started playing a slow song. Couples moved to the open area in front of the stage, swaying to the music. Lauren set down his cup and held out his hand. Would you like to dance? Anna hesitated only a moment before placing her hand in his. I'd love to. He led her to the dance floor, one hand resting lightly on her waist as they began to move to the music. Anna had danced with men before. At formal events, her father had insisted she attend, but never like this. Never with someone whose touch sent warmth spreading through her entire body. I'm glad you came tonight, Lauren said softly, his eyes holding hers. Me too, Anna replied, unable to look away from his gaze. They danced in silence for a while, the space between them gradually diminishing until Anna's head rested against Lauren's chest. She could hear his heartbeat, steady and strong, and feel the gentle pressure of his hand on her back. It felt right. It felt safe. Two things Anna had rarely experienced in her life. As the song ended, Lauren didn't immediately let her go. Instead, he looked down at her with an expression that made her breath catch. Anna, he began, his voice low, I want you to know, well, isn't this cozy? A familiar voice cut through the moment like a knife. Anna and Lauren turned to find Sarah standing there, a glass of wine in her hand and a cold smile on her face. Beside her stood a man who could only be James. His resemblance to Lauren was striking, though his features were softer, less weathered. Sarah, Lauren said, his body tensing. James. James stepped forward, his expression a mix of discomfort and determination. Hello, brother, it's been a long time. Anna felt Lauren's hand tighten around hers. Not long enough, he replied coldly. What are you doing here? We're staying in town for a few days, Sarah answered, her gaze flicking dismissively. Over Anna. I see you found someone new to keep you company. How sweet. Don't start, Sarah, James warned, placing a restraining hand on his wife's arm. He turned back to Lauren. We need to talk. Properly. About the ranch. I said everything I needed. To say the other day, Lauren replied. I'm not interested in helping you. James's expression hardened. It's not just about me, Lauren. There are other people involved. Families who've worked that land for generations. If the bank forecloses, they lose everything too. A flicker of emotion crossed Lauren's face, too quick for Anna to interpret. That's not my problem. Once you would have cared, James said quietly. Once you would have put others before your pride. Lauren's jaw tightened. And once I thought I could trust my own brother. The tension between them was palpable, drawing curious glances from nearby festival goers. Anna squeezed Lauren's hand gently, a silent reminder of her presence. We're at the Cedar Creek Inn, James said finally. Room 205, if you change your mind. With that he turned and walked away. Sarah lingered a moment longer, her cold eyes fixed on Anna. Enjoy it while it lasts, honey, she said with a smirk. Lauren's great at beginnings. It's the rest he can't handle. Before either Anna or Lauren could respond, Sarah sauntered after her husband, disappearing into the crowd. Lauren stood rigid, his expression closed. The easy warmth of earlier had vanished, replaced by a wall of anger and hurt. "Do you want to leave?" Anna asked softly. He nodded, not trusting himself to speak. The drive back to the ranch was silent, Loren's hands gripping the steering wheel too tightly, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Anna wanted to comfort him, but didn't know how. The night, that had started so perfectly, had been shattered by the past he couldn't escape. When they reached the ranch, Loren parked in front of Anna's cabin but made no move to get out of the truck. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I didn't know they would be there." "You don't need to apologize," Anna replied. "It wasn't your fault." Loren turned to look at her, his expression troubled. "You deserve better than this, Anna. Better than being dragged into my family drama." "Loren, no," he interrupted. "Tonight was supposed to be special, just the two of us. And instead," he trailed off, shaking his head. Anna reached out, placing her hand over his. "It was special. Don't let them take that away." For a long moment, Loren said nothing. Then, slowly, he raised her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her. "Knuckles." "Good night, Anna," he said softly. "Thank you for understanding." Anna wanted to say more, to tell him that Sarah was wrong, that she saw the goodness in him, even if he couldn't see it himself. But the words stuck in her throat, held back by the fear that had followed her from Chicago, the fear of trusting too much too soon. "Good night," she whispered instead, slipping out of the truck and into the safety of her cabin. That night, Anna lay awake for hours, replaying the evening in her mind, the way Loren had looked at her as they danced, the electricity of his touch, the pain in his eyes when confronted with his brother, and beneath it all a growing certainty that what she felt for Loren Hartwell was more than attraction, more than friendship. It was something deeper, something that frightened and thrilled her in equal measure. The next morning, Anna rose early and headed straight to the stable. She needed the comfort of Orion's company, the simplicity of working with the horses. To her surprise, Loren was already there, brushing Ember with methodical strokes. He looked up when she entered, his expression guarded. "Good morning," he said quietly. "Did you sleep well?" "Not really," Anna admitted. "You?" "No." He set down the brush and turned to face her fully. "Anna, about last night." "It's okay," she interrupted. "You don't have to explain." "Yes, I do." Loren stepped closer, his eyes serious. "I've spent 5 years letting what happened with James and Sarah define me. 5 years building walls to keep everyone out. And then you arrived and somehow," he gestured helplessly, "you got past all my defenses without even trying." Anna's heart beat faster at his words. "Loren, let me finish," he said gently. "When I saw them last night, all the old anger came rushing back. But this morning I realized something. I'm tired of living in the past, tired of letting their betrayal control my life." He took another step toward her. "I want to move forward, Anna, with you." The sincerity in his voice made Anna's chest tight with emotion. "I want that too," she whispered. Loren's hand came up to cup her cheek, his touch feather-light. "You're extraordinary, Anna Belmonte. From the moment I saw you with Orion, I knew there was something special about you. Something I couldn't ignore no matter how hard I tried." Anna leaned into his touch, her eyes closing briefly. When she opened them, Loren was looking at her with such tenderness that it took her breath away. Slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, he leaned down and pressed his lips to hers. The kiss was gentle at first, questioning, but when Anna's arms slid around his neck, it deepened into something more urgent, more needy. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathing heavily. Loren rested his forehead against hers, his eyes closed as if savoring the moment. "I should have done that a long time ago," he murmured. Anna smiled. "Better late than never." The sound of someone clearing their throat made them jump apart like guilty teenagers. Frank stood in the stable doorway, his expression a mix of amusement and concern. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, not sounding sorry at all, "but there's a situation with the north fence. One of the hands found a section down, and some of the horses got out. They're rounding them up now, but we could use some help." Loren nodded. immediately shifting back into his role as ranch owner. "I'll be right there." He turned to Anna. "We'll continue this conversation later?" "I'll be here," she promised. Lauren followed Frank out of the stable. Anna leaned against Orion's stall, her fingers touching her lips where Lauren's had been moments before. The stallion nudged her arm gently, as if sensing her emotions. "What do you think, boy?" she whispered, stroking his nose. "Am I crazy to feel this way?" Orion nickered softly, pressing his head against her hand. "I'll take that as a no," Anna laughed. For the rest of the day, Anna threw herself into her work, but her mind kept returning to that kiss, to the feeling of Lauren's arms around her, to the promise of later that hung between them. By evening, the fence was repaired and all the horses accounted for. Anna was finishing her final checks on the stable when Loren appeared, looking tired but satisfied. "Everything okay?" she asked. He nodded. "All fixed. No horses lost, just a lot of running around." He smiled at her, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. "Have you eaten?" "Not yet." "Good. I was hoping you'd join me for dinner again." "At the house." Anna returned his smile. "I'd like that." They walked together toward the main house, not touching, but close enough that their shoulders occasionally brushed. The tension between them had shifted, no longer the uncertainty of unspoken feelings, but the sweet anticipation of something new and fragile. Dinner was simple: steaks grilled to perfection, baked potatoes, and a bottle of red wine that Loren admitted he'd been saving for a special occasion. "And this qualifies?" Anna teased. "Absolutely," he replied, his eyes warm as they met hers across the table. They talked easily throughout the meal, avoiding the topic of James and Sarah by unspoken agreement. Instead, they shared stories from their childhoods, dreams they'd harbored, small truths that built a bridge between them. After dinner, they moved to the living room, settling on the comfortable sofa before the fireplace. Lauren had built a small fire to ward off the autumn chill, and its light cast a golden glow over everything. "Tell me something," Lauren said, his arm draped casually along the back of the sofa behind Anna. "Have you heard from your family since you left Chicago?" Anna tensed slightly. "No, and I prefer it that way." "They haven't tried to find you?" She shook her head. "My father is—" She hesitated, searching for the right words. "He's a proud man. In his mind, I betrayed him by leaving. He wouldn't lower himself to chase after me." Lauren studied her face. "You're afraid of him, aren't you?" "Not physically," Anna clarified. "He never hit me, but he has other ways of controlling people. Money, influence, manipulation." She shrugged, trying to appear more casual than she felt. "It doesn't matter now. I'm free of him." "And if he did find you?" Anna looked away, into the dancing flames of the fire. "I don't know. I hope I never have to find out." Lauren's hand moved. To her shoulder, a gentle, reassuring touch. "If he ever does, you won't face him alone, I promise you that." Anna turned back to him, touched by his protectiveness. "Thank you." Their eyes held, and then Loren was leaning in, his lips finding hers with more confidence than before. Anna melted into his embrace, her hands sliding up to tangle in his hair as the kiss deepened. This time there were no interruptions, no one to pull them back to reality, just the crackling of the fire and the beating of their hearts as they surrendered to feelings too strong to deny any longer. Later, as they sat, entwined on the sofa, Anna's head resting on Lauren's chest, he spoke softly into her hair. "I haven't believed in people for a long time, but when I saw him run to you, I started believing again." Anna looked up at him, understanding that he was referring to Orion, to that first day when the stallion had chosen to trust her. Orion saw something in me that I sometimes don't see in myself, she admitted. "Worth value." "I see it," Loren said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I've seen it from the beginning." The next few weeks passed in a haze of happiness for Anna. Her days were filled with work she loved, and her evenings were spent with Lauren, sharing meals, talking late into the night, discovering each other in all the ways new lovers do. The ranch hands noticed the change in their boss, the way his stern expression softened whenever Anna was near. There were whispers, of course, but they were kind ones, approving. Everyone had seen how good Anna was with the horses, especially Orion. If she could tame the wildest stallion on the ranch, perhaps she could heal their boss's wounded heart as well. One crisp November morning, Anna was working with Orion in the corral when Tommy and his father arrived for their promised visit. The boy watched with wide eyes as Anna guided the stallion through a series of exercises, demonstrating the trust and understanding between them. "He's so big," Tommy whispered, clutching the fence. "Aren't you scared?" Anna smiled, bringing Orion to a stop near the fence. "Not anymore. We understand each other now." "Can I touch him?" Tommy asked hesitantly. Anna glanced at Lauren, who stood nearby. He nodded slightly, trusting her judgment. "Come into the corral," Anna said, "but move slowly. No sudden movements." Tommy's father looked worried, but Lauren placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's all right, Anna knows what she's doing." Carefully, Tommy slipped between the fence rails and approached, his steps measured and cautious. Orion watched the boy with alert eyes, but showed no signs of distress. "Hold your hand out. Palm up," Anna instructed. "Let him come to you." Tommy did as he was told, his small hand trembling slightly. For a long moment, Orion simply looked at the boy. Then, slowly, the stallion lowered his head and sniffed Tommy's palm. "He likes you," Anna said softly. "You can stroke his nose now." Gently, with awe on his face, Tommy reached up and touched the stallion's velvety muzzle. "He's so soft," he breathed. Anna glanced over at Lauren and found him watching her with an expression of such pride and tenderness that it made her heart swell. This, she thought, is happiness. This is belonging. That night, as they sat on the porch, swing at the main house, wrapped in a blanket against the chill, Lauren turned to Anna with serious eyes. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice thoughtful, "about us, about the future." Anna's heart skipped a beat. "What about it?" "I know it's only been a few months since you came here, and I know we've only been together for a few weeks." He took her hand in his. "But I've never felt this way about anyone, Anna, not even Sarah. What I feel for you is deeper, more real." Anna squeezed his hand, encouraging him to continue. "I'm not asking for promises," Lauren said carefully. "I know you came here for independence, to find your own way. I respect that. But I want you to know that I see a future with you, here at Stonewell Ranch, if that's something you might want too." Anna felt tears prick at her eyes. "Lauren, The sound of a car approaching cut her off. They both turned to see headlights coming up the driveway, the crunch of tires on gravel breaking the peaceful night. "Are you expecting anyone?" Anna asked. Lauren shook his head, rising from the swing. "Stay here." He moved to the edge of the porch as the car, an expensive black sedan, pulled to a stop in front of the house. The driver's door opened, and a man stepped out, tall, distinguished, with silver hair and a bearing that spoke of power and authority. Anna froze, her blood turning to ice in her veins. "Dad?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. But somehow her father heard her. His cold gaze moved past Lauren, fixing on Anna with an intensity that made her shrink back. "Anastasia," he said, his voice as she remembered it, calm, controlled, and utterly terrifying. "It's time to come home." Anna felt as if she couldn't breathe. The sight of her father standing in front of the ranch house, her sanctuary, her home, sent waves of panic through her body. Richard Belmonte took a step forward, his expensive shoes crunching on the gravel. "Anastasia," he repeated, his voice hardening. "I've been looking for you for months." Lauren moved protectively to Anna's side. "Mr. Belmonte, I presume?" Richard's cold gaze shifted to Lauren, assessing him with the calculating eye of a businessman evaluating an asset. "And you are?" "Lauren Hartwell. This is my ranch." "Ah, the employer." Richard nodded slightly. "I appreciate you giving my daughter a job, Mr. Hartwell, but it's time she returned to her real life, to her family." Anna found her voice at last, though it trembled slightly. "I'm not going anywhere, Dad. This is my life now." Richard's expression didn't change, but something dangerous flickered in his eyes. "Don't be ridiculous, Anastasia. Playing with horses may be amusing for a while, but it's hardly a career for someone of your background and education. It's more than that, Anna insisted, moving to stand beside Lauren. I'm happy here. For the first time in my life, I'm making my own choices. Richard sighed, the sound heavy with false patience. Your choices nearly bankrupted our family, Anastasia. Or have you forgotten the money you took when you left? Anna stiffened. I didn't take anything except what was mine, my savings from Grandma's inheritance. That money was meant for your education, not for you to run away and play farmhand, Richard countered. He turned to Lauren. Did she tell you she stole $50,000 before disappearing? That's not true, Anna said, her voice rising. That money was left to me by Grandma when I turned 21. It was mine to use however I wanted. Lauren placed a steadying hand on Anna's back. Mr. Belmonte, it's late, and you've had a long drive. Perhaps we should continue this conversation in the morning. Richard's mouth tightened at being dismissed. This doesn't concern you, Mr. Hartwell. I'm here to take my daughter home. Anna is an adult, Lauren replied calmly. She makes her own decisions. Does she? Richard's smile was cold. Then she can decide whether she wants to face charges for theft or return home with me tonight. Anna paled. You wouldn't. I've already spoken with the police in Chicago, Richard said, his tone matter of fact. They're quite interested in finding you, Anastasia. $50,000 is grand theft. That's a felony. Lauren's expression darkened. You're threatening your own daughter with false charges? Not false, Mr. Hartwell. The money was in a trust I controlled. Anastasia accessed. Pay it without authorization. Richard turned back to Anna. But I'm willing to drop the whole matter if you come home now. Tonight. Anna felt sick. She knew her father well enough to know he would follow through on his threat. Richard Belmonte never bluffed. I need to think, she said, weakly. Richard checked his watch. You have until morning. I'm staying at the Cedar Creek Inn, room 310. He turned to go, then paused. One more thing, Anastasia. If you don't come with me, I'll be forced to pursue charges not only against you, but against anyone who's been helping you hide. His gaze flicked meaningfully to Lauren. Accessory after the fact is a serious offense. With that parting shot, he got back into his car and drove away, leaving Anna and Lauren standing in stunned silence. As soon as the taillights disappeared, Anna's knees buckled. Lauren caught her, guiding her to the porch swing. He can't do this, Lauren said, anger evident in his voice. He can't just come here and threaten you. You don't know my father, Anna replied, her voice hollow. He can and he will. He has connections. Funny influence. If he says he'll press charges, he means it. Lauren knelt in front of her, taking her hands in his. Listen to me, Anna. He's bluffing. If that money was truly yours, inheritance from your grandmother, then you didn't steal anything. It doesn't matter, Anna said, tears filling her eyes. He'll make it look like theft. He'll twist the truth until I seem guilty. She looked at Lauren, her heart breaking. And now he's threatening you too. I'm not afraid of Richard Belmonte, Lauren stated firmly. You should be, Anna whispered. He can destroy people. He's done it before. Lauren rose and sat beside her on the swing, pulling her close. We'll figure this out, Anna. Together, I promise. But, even as he held her, Anna knew what she had to do. She couldn't let her father hurt Lauren or tarnish Stonewell Ranch's reputation with a scandal. The ranch was Lauren's life, his fresh start after his brother's betrayal. She wouldn't be responsible for taking that away from him. Later that night, after Lauren had finally fallen asleep beside her, Anna slipped quietly from the bed. In the dark, she gathered her few belongings, packing quickly and silently. She scribbled a note telling Lauren she was sorry that she had to protect him from her father's wrath, that she would always remember their time together. She couldn't bear to write goodbye or I love you, though both sentiments caught in her throat as she placed the note on the kitchen table. The ranch was quiet as Anna made her way to the stable. She needed to say goodbye to Orion before she left. The stallion had been her first friend at Stonewell, the one who had brought her and Lauren together. She owed him a proper farewell. Orion was awake when she entered his stall, his intelligent eyes watching her in the dim light. She buried her face in his mane, letting the tears come at last. I have to go, she whispered against his warm neck. I'm sorry. I don't want to, but I have to protect him. Orion shifted restlessly, As if sensing her distress, Anna stroked his nose one last time, then turned to leave. But as she reached for the stall door, Orion moved suddenly, blocking her path with his. "A massive body. Please," Anna said softly, "don't make this harder." She tried to maneuver around him, but Orion wouldn't budge. When she pushed gently against his shoulder, he tossed his head and snorted, planting his hooves firmly. "Anna?" She whirled around to find Lauren standing in the stable doorway, his hair mussed from sleep, his expression a mixture of hurt and confusion. In his hand was the note she'd left. "You were going to leave?" he asked, his voice rough with emotion, "without even saying goodbye to my face?" Anna's tears flowed freely now. "I had to. My father will ruin you if I stay." "So you decided for both of us?" Without even discussing it, Lauren stepped closer, his eyes intense in the shadowy stable. "Without giving me a chance to fight for you." "There's no fighting my father," Anna insisted. "He always wins, Lauren, always." "Not this time." Lauren moved forward, closing the distance between them. Behind Anna, Orion still blocked the stall door, preventing her escape. "You're not going anywhere, Anna, not unless it's with me, because even he knows." Lauren nodded toward Orion. "You were never meant to run." The echo of his words from the note she'd left on his kitchen counter, so similar yet so different, broke something open inside Anna. She fell into Lauren's arms, her body shaking with sobs. "I can't let him hurt you," she cried against his chest. "I can't." Lauren held her tightly, his lips pressed to her hair. "He can't hurt me, Anna. Not if we stand together." As they clung to each other in Orion's stall, the stallion finally moved. Aside, as if satisfied that his human was no longer trying to leave. By morning they had a plan. After several hours of talking, of sharing painful truths and determined promises, Anna and Lauren faced the new day with united resolve. Together, they drove into town to meet Richard Belmonte at his hotel. Anna's stomach was in knots, but Lauren's steady presence beside her gave her the courage she needed. Her father was waiting in the hotel lobby, impeccably dressed as always, a cup of coffee at his elbow as he read the financial section of a newspaper. He looked up as they approached, his expression unchanging. "I see you've brought your employer," he said, folding the newspaper precisely. "I thought I made it clear this was a family matter, Anastasia." "Lauren is family to me now," Anna replied, her voice stronger than she expected. "And we need to talk." Richard sighed, gesturing to the empty chairs at his table. "Very well, let's get this over with." As they sat, Anna pulled a folder from her bag and placed it on the table. "These are the documents from Grandma's will, leaving me the inheritance when I turn 21. And this," she tapped a bank statement, "shows the transfer of funds into my personal account, which you had no legal control over." Richard's expression didn't change, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. "Where did you get those?" "I made copies." "Before I left," Anna said. "I knew someday you might try something like this. I've also contacted my lawyer this morning," Lauren added, his tone professional but firm. "If you pursue false charges against Anna, we'll counter with harassment and slander suits. Do you really want that kind of publicity, Mr. Belmonte? For everyone to know you tried to frame your own daughter." Richard's cold eyes narrowed as he evaluated this new threat. "You're bluffing." "No," Lauren replied simply. "I'm protecting what matters to me. Anna matters to me." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Richard's face. He looked at his daughter as if seeing her clearly for the first time, not as the obedient child he could control, but as a woman who had found her strength. "You've changed," he said finally. "Yes," Anna agreed. "I have. I'm not afraid of you anymore, Dad." Richard leaned back in his chair, his expression calculating. "And if I drop this matter, what then? You'll continue mucking horse stalls for the rest of your life?" "I'll continue doing what makes me happy," Anna corrected him. "Working with horses, building a life with Lauren, making my own choices. It's not the future I wanted for you." "It's not your future to decide," Anna said gently. "It never was." For a long moment, Richard was silent, his fingers drumming lightly on the table. Finally, he nodded once, sharply. Keep the money, he said. Consider it your final inheritance. But don't expect anything else from me, Anastasia. Not now, not ever. Anna felt a pang of sadness, but also relief. I understand. Richard stood, buttoning his suit jacket with practiced precision. Mr. Hartwell, I'd say it's been a pleasure. But we both know that would be a lie. Loren rose as well, his hand finding Anna's shoulder. Take care, Mr. Belmonte. With one last look at his daughter, a look that might have contained a hint of regret, Richard Belmonte walked away, out of the hotel and out of Anna's life. Are you okay? Loren asked softly when they were alone. Anna took a deep breath, surprised, to find she felt lighter than she had in years. Yes, she said, and meant it. I'm free. As they left the hotel, they nearly collided with a couple entering the lobby, James and Sarah. Loren, James said, clearly surprised. What are you doing here? Taking care of something important, Loren replied, his arm slipping protectively around Anna's waist. What about you? I thought you'd be heading back to your ranch by now, James, and Sarah exchanged a glance. We're checking out today, James said. The bank, well, they're proceeding with foreclosure. Despite everything, Anna felt a twinge of sympathy for the couple. Sarah's usual confident demeanor was absent, replaced by genuine worry. I'm sorry to hear that, Loren said, and to Anna's surprise, he sounded sincere. James nodded, accepting the sentiment. It's my own fault. I made bad investments, took too many risks. I should have listened to you years ago. An uncomfortable silence fell between the brothers. Anna could feel the weight of their shared history, the pain of betrayal, but also something else, the faint echo of the bond they'd once shared. What will you do now? Loren asked finally. James shrugged. Start over somewhere, I guess. We've sold most of what we own to pay the debts. What's left will get us to Montana. Sarah's cousin has a place there. Loren was quiet for a moment, his expression thoughtful. Then he said, There's a property about 10 miles from Stonewell, the Wilkerson place. Old man Wilkerson died last month, and his children are looking to sell. It's small, but the land is good. James stared at his brother, confusion clear on his face. Why are you telling me this? Because despite everything, you're still my brother, Loren said quietly. And life's too short to hold on to hate. Anna squeezed Loren's hand, her heart swelling with pride at his capacity for forgiveness. James swallowed hard. Loren, I'm not saying I trust you, Loren interrupted. That will take time. A lot of time. But everyone deserves a second chance? Sarah, who had been uncharacteristically silent, stepped forward. Thank you, she said simply, her usual artifice absent. Loren nodded once, then guided Anna toward the door. Think about it, he called over his shoulder. The Wilkerson place. It has potential. Outside in the crisp morning air, Anna turned to Loren with wondering eyes. You're amazing, you know that? He smiled, a full, genuine smile that transformed his face. Amazing enough that you'll stay at Stonewell? With me? Yes, Anna said without hesitation. For as long as you want me. Forever then, Loren replied, pulling her close for a kiss that promised exactly that. The winter months passed in peaceful happiness at Stonewell Ranch. Anna's father made no further attempts to contact her, and while James and Sarah did eventually purchase the Wilkerson property, they kept a respectful distance, allowing the brothers to rebuild their relationship at their own pace. One evening in early spring, as Anna and Loren walked the fence line together, he surprised her by dropping to one knee in the same spot where Orion had first approached her. Anna Belmonte, he said, his voice steady despite the nerves evident in his eyes. From the moment you arrived at Stonewell, you've brought light and joy back into my life. You tamed my wildest horse and healed my hardest heart. He pulled a small, velvet box from his pocket. Will you marry me? Tears of happiness filled Anna's eyes as she nodded. Yes, Loren, yes. The ring was simple but beautiful. A diamond surrounded by smaller sapphires that reminded Anna of the blue sky over Stonewell on that first day. As Loren slipped it onto her finger, the sound of hoofbeats made them both turn. Orion had broken out of his paddock again, But this time there was no panic, no shouting. The stallion trotted directly to them, stopping a few feet away as if to inspect the scene. Anna laughed through her tears, reaching out to stroke the horse's velvet nose. "What do you think, Orion? Should I marry him?" The stallion nudged her hand, then Lauren's, before tossing his head in what could only be described as approval. "I think that's a yes," Lauren chuckled, rising to his feet and pulling Anna into his arms. Over Lauren's shoulder, Anna could see Stonewell Ranch spread out before them, the stable where she'd found purpose, the fields where she'd found freedom, the house where she'd found love. Everything she'd ever wanted but hadn't known how to ask for. "Thank you," she whispered, not sure if she was speaking to Lauren, to Orion, or to whatever twist of fate had brought her here in the first place. Lauren drew back slightly, his eyes questioning. "For what?" Anna smiled, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. "For seeing what I couldn't see, for knowing I was special when I thought I was ordinary." "You could never be ordinary, Anna," Lauren said softly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Even he knew that from the start. He nodded toward Orion, who was contentedly grazing nearby. As the sun set over Stonewell Ranch, painting the sky in brilliant shades of pink and gold, Anna and Lauren walked hand in hand toward home, Orion following. A few paces behind, Anna had come to Stonewell Ranch looking for a job, for independence, for a fresh start. She'd found all of that and more. She'd found where she belonged, with Lauren, with Orion, with the wide-open skies and endless possibilities of a life built on trust, understanding, and love, a life that was truly special. The end.